and this debate has been so delirious that we forgot the fact that we're going to sell battleships here to bomb everybody. I'm going to start this debate by asking two questions. Firstly, how do we get, as an EU, the power, the international power, to set an agenda towards our interests, towards everything we want to achieve? And secondly, and thus answering the same question, what kind of moral obligation do we have towards the Gaza Strip, and how do we best serve this? Firstly, very quick rebuttal, and mostly would be embedded inside as I go. So we heard the idea that, you know, Gaza and the Middle East is such a big interest of the EU. So we say, yeah, it is an interest, but firstly we say that in order to achieve that kind of interest, we need power, international power, as we heard from Lior, no response from opposition. Secondly, we say that once we get that kind of power, we agree with proposition that we need to stop that everything that goes in Gaza. We'll get there soon. The main idea is this: you cannot do anything, everything that these guys want just because you're the EU. You need power to do stuff in the international arena. They have ignored it all along. So we're going to talk about this. Moving on quickly about Iran. So we heard the entire second opposition extension that Iran is such a big problem. So we're telling you this: Iran is not that big of a problem towards the EU, and we have three responses for that. Firstly, because of the sanctions that has been put and are working. How do we see that they work? They weaken the country. No, thank you. The country is weak. We know it from Hadas, and they come to the negotiation table. No, thank you, Hadas. Secondly, there's a Western. No, I'm just kidding. There's a Western consensus all over the Iranian issue, meaning that things are being handled. We don't want the next North Korea. Everybody agrees about it in the Western area. Thirdly, as I told you in a very clever way, we create a precedent towards Iran. No, thank you. So we get both goals. Firstly, we say nobody blocks naval, you know, the Hormuz ways. And it is very crucial because we know that the United States has just set a carrier over there. So we're not talking just monkey business, we're talking serious business here, and signaling this is a good thing even towards Iran. That's why we don't think that Iran is the main problem in this debate. Why Israel, we have been asked? We say, firstly, that it's an easy target, so they reply the same thing. They said, yeah, there's an easy target, we don't understand. But as we said, they'll never attack back. Chaya and Chagai said it also in a PY as well. Secondly, more importantly, guys, well, thank you, and this is the crux of this case. Israel is considered aligned with the USA. We want to break the alignment of the EU with the USA. Why do we want to do that? Because of everything Ido has told you. Because we want to project power as an independent superpower, not as a superpower that has always been traveling after the United States, that has been a puppet of the United States, that have conceded to both Iraq wars, even though it has gained nothing from it. We say that this hurts the way that the superpower set the agenda, and now let's see how do we do that as an EU. My first question in this debate, no thank you. So first Gav says, yeah, it's our time to liberate assets, and we heard the idea that, you know, power, I won't say it in a sentence, that power comes from negotiation. We say this is exactly our problem as an EU. We are perceived as the good guys. We're perceived as the ones that nobody takes really into account. When China needs something, they go to the US. I just told you that. When Russia wants something, it attacks in Georgia. When Iran wants something, it creates a nuclear bomb. No one pisses on us, guys. So it's time we get our asses together, if I may use Hadas. So basically, we have that. We say this time is over. Why it is over? Because of that crisis. We say that you need power to put forward your kind of interests. How do we know that? Because we see a correlation, no thank you, between all the superpowers in the world and aggressive behavior. We see it in the USA and its interventions. We see it in Russia, as I told you. We see it in China. We see it in in Pakistan wars. So we know that showing that you can use the power you have is a very important thing in projecting that kind of power. So we say, no, thank you, that if every entity in the world which matters actually acts forcefully, we should do that as well. So, we told you that we need to project power. Secondly, why do we need to project power differently from the USA? No, thank you. Specifically meaning, why do we need to send ships here, to Israel, which considered as the USA's biggest allies? We say that all missions the USA carries depict it as a serious player in the world. That's why it is so important in every negotiation. That's why no international consensus would go without the USA. That's why it has such a powerful, I'll tell you in a second, such a powerful such powers in the UN, etc. We say that this time it's going to change because of our analysis, because that we are now signaling to the entire world that we can and we will use force if it negates our interests, even if it means going against the United States. Go.
What kind of power are you exactly going to achieve if Israel will not surrender, like we deeply analyzed and didn't get a response?
I don't think you guys deeply analyzed it alone. The fact that you have 4 answers does not mean you deeply analyzed it. It means that you have a lot of things you think. We believe that the very common notion and the common sense says that Israel needs the EU way more than the EU needs Israel. That Israel is weaker than the EU, and that the United States and the EU will not, no thank you, will not fight over Israel because it is not worth that much. That means that we will have 2 superpowers now, getting us more and more power, and we think that this is a great thing. Quickly moving to what we're going to do with that great superpower now that we have it. We say that the EU cannot shape the Israeli-Hamas, the Israeli-Palestinian, the Israeli-Arab conflict without setting the agenda. No one intervenes in Syria just because he wants to. You need to have the power, you need to have the consensus, you need to have the international legitimacy. We showed you in the first one how is this achieved. Secondly, we say, that we have the idea that, you know, we have a moral obligation, and we completely agree. We say just less important than our obligation to our own interests, but we say that even if we get the idea that breaching the blockade is such a big problem, as the second opposition said, you know, we have Iran and weapons, we say, firstly, there's no real blockade today. Weapons are being smuggled in. We know that food is coming in. All of the sides, both opposition and opposition have considered the fact. Furthermore, we completely agree with the first problem, as they said, that we do want to get them a better life to be lived. We think that the situation there is unstable, definitely not worth living, and we don't buy the analysis from the first opposition that says that, look, you know, you're going to strengthen Hamas. We think the situation is bad enough as it is right now, but more importantly and most importantly, it means that we are the ones who are setting the agenda there. It means that not only we are fulfilling our moral obligation, it means that we do so in a coherent way which strengthens us, which gives us more leeway towards ending more conflicts in the world, towards serving our interests. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to propose.